We gonna start this thing alright. Duval in the money logging out. Come on, come on. Hey, 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 do it, baby, take it, baby. Hey, 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 do it, baby, take it, baby. Hey, 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 do it, baby, take it, baby. Hey, 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 do it, baby. I'm living my best life. Ain't going back and forth with you now.
Hey guys, it's Catherine and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make resin coasters. Yes, this is the long-awaited project that I have been talking about and dying to show you how to make. So if you're interested, just keep watching. All right, so take a look at this picture here. This is what I'm going to be showing you today. This is an old family photo of mine. It's my grandfather, his 3 brothers, and his 5 sisters. This photo is about 50 years old. And so we went from the photo to the resin coaster. Now the coaster is a 4x4. And I do print all my pictures from Sam's Club. So I just took the larger photo in and I scanned it in and got a 4x4 picture, and this is what I came up with. So if you're interested, keep on watching. All right guys, so let's run through the list of supplies that we'll need for the project on today. As I said, we will need a photo of some sort, and today we're gonna make an Ohio State coaster. It's one of my more popular coasters that I do sell at some of my craft shows. So we're going to start with a 4x4 picture. We'll also need a mixing cup and a mixing spoon. We'll need a pair of gloves to protect our hands. And since we're going to make a round coaster, we will need a round cutter, and this is by Reflections, and it did come from Michael's. We'll also need some glue, or you can use Mod Podge, whatever you have on hand. We'll also need resin. Now, I use 2 different types of resin. You can either go with the Environtex pour-on or the Easy Cast. They both work great. I don't have a preference. I use them both, whichever one I find on sale. And normally they are around $16 for this 8-ounce box. You'll also need some wax paper to protect your surface and to keep your coasters from sticking to your tabletop. You'll also need a foam brush. Of course, you're going to need a coaster, and this round coaster I did purchase from a company called Maryland China, and they are in Reisterstown, Maryland, and I do order them online, and they're about $1.10 for a coaster, and it is really ceramic. And last but not least, this will be your friend. You will need this butane lighter. This is the secret to making perfect resin coasters. This is what removes all of the air bubbles from your surface of your coaster. All right, so let's get started, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and put our gloves on, because that's the first thing that we're going to need to do. As I said, you will need to protect your hands. The resin is very, very tacky. And once you get it on your hand, it will come off, but you'll just need to use lots of rubbing alcohol to help get it off. All right. All right, now we're all suited up with the gloves. Next, we'll get our wax paper. You'll lay it flat on your surface. And remember, if you don't use the wax paper, you will risk the chance of your resin running off your coaster and sticking to your tabletop or your surface. All right, next we're gonna get the coaster, and you'll lay that flat. Then you'll get your glue, and we're only gonna make 1 coaster today, so I'll just pour a little bit of glue on this little plastic plate here. And that may be more than we need, but it's okay. And we've got our sponge brush. And now we're going to get our square 4x4 picture, and remember we're going to cut it into a round circle using the circle cutter. We're going to just stick the picture in the cutter. See if you can get this on, if I can get this on camera. Stick the picture in the cutter, press down on it. Open up the back of the cutter. Voila. There's our round picture. All right, so we got the picture, coaster, picture, picture, coaster. Take a little bit of glue. And just brush it on your coaster. Just a little bit. All right, and now we'll take the picture and we'll stick it on, and we'll just hold a little bit of pressure there just for a little while. Pat it down so that it adheres nice and good. All right, now we'll lay that flat. And now we're going to take our plastic cup and our little spatula. Now you do want to be sure that you're using a plastic cup. Definitely never ever use a foam cup or anything that's what's the word I'm looking for? Anything that's got any kind of wax on it, like a paper cup, like a wax paper cup, because the wax and may have a tendency to leak into the resin. So definitely a plastic cup. All right, now since we are making just one coaster, we need to use equal parts of the resin and the hardener. Now normally I would use a cup that's got the little graduated lines on it, but since I'm just going to make one, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to eyeball it for sure, because you've got to have equal parts. If you don't have equal parts, it will never dry, it will become tacky. So what I'm going to do, just because we're doing one coaster instead of more than one, I'm going to use my top, and I'm going to pour the resin. Just fill the cap up, pour it into the cup, and you never want to try to judge it by just pouring it straight from the bottle, because sometimes there's more resin in the resin bottle than there is hardener in the hardener bottle, and then one is a little bit thinner than the other, so you don't want to do it that way for that reason. All right, now this is the hardener. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Pour a cap full. You know what, let's do 2 caps, because I want you to be able to see me really stir this up. And I want you to see what happens when I start to stir it up. All right, so I've got to get one more cap full of the resin. All right, and again, I am so glad to be bringing this this project to you. It is something that I have been doing for a very long time, probably about 10 years or more. I've given them away. I've sold thousands of them at different craft shows, trade shows. And so I'm really glad to be showing it to you. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just mix. Just start stirring it up for about 2 minutes, giving it time to really mix together, remembering to scrape the sides of the cup. Now what's happening, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the more you stir, you will begin to get some little bubbles, air bubbles, and that's just the resin degassing itself. But you'll just stir it. Just keep stirring. Now, you don't have to work extremely fast with this resin, but you do need to be swiftly because it will begin to set up after about maybe 10 minutes or so, and resin has a tendency to get very hot to the touch. So that's why you definitely don't want to use a styrofoam cup because it will melt. All right, now once we've got this nice and stirred up, what we're going to do is wipe off our little stir stick, and then we're just going to pour it on. Just pour it directly in the center, and it will self-level itself out. And it's fine if it runs off of the side. You know, it's gonna go right onto the wax paper. Again, it won't stick to the wax paper. It will release itself, you know, once you do lift it up. And you just wanna be careful and just take your time and cover the entire surface of the coaster. You don't wanna leave any areas uncovered. And now it will begin to get, after a couple minutes or so, you will begin to see little air bubbles forming, but that's okay. I told you what the secret to that was, that butane lighter. I remember the very first time I saw coasters, not exactly sure where I was, and I was really curious about how, you know, to make them or how they were made. And it's as if, you know, no one would tell you. It was like top secret. So I was told, you know, in order to remove the bubbles, you needed to, you know, inhale on it, blow hot breath on it. I did that. I was told to take a straw and, you know, blow through a straw. I did that, and it does work, but that didn't seem very sanitary to me, for one. And two, it looked pretty silly blowing through a straw like that. All right, now I've got the resin completely on the entire surface of the top of the coaster. None has run on the sides, which is fine. Had it run on the sides, that would be fine too. All right, so we'll let that sit for just a few moments and do its thing. Now, another thing about resin is it's going to take about 12 hours to dry to the touch. Once 12 hours is up, you will be able to pick it up, to touch it, to feel it. But it will take that, it will definitely need that 12 hours to cure. The more it cures, the harder it gets. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our butane lighter, and you're just gonna turn it on, and you're gonna stay probably about 4 inches away, and you're going to just let that release all of the air bubbles. I wish you could see this. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the bubbles, they just disappear. It's like magic. All right, so we'll sit and we'll wait a little while, and we'll see if any more bubbles come back. If they do, then we'll just turn it on again. But let me tell you, while we're waiting to see if more bubbles come back before we actually finish it off. As I said, I've sold, you know, lots of these coasters. They're very, very, very popular in my area. People look for me people come and ask me, did you really make that? And you know, I say yes, and it's like, well, how did you make it? And I would never tell anybody. And now, so the last time I was out, a couple weeks ago, I was at a show, and someone asked me if I made it. I said yes. And they says, well, how did you do that? I said, well, I'll tell you what, here, take my card, got a YouTube channel, go on, give me a couple of weeks, I'll have a video uploaded, and then you'll see exactly how I made it. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. You know, as I said, you know, I have sold them. So if you want to, you know, do the same, that is absolutely fine with me. No more secrets here. All right, let's start again. Make sure that we get all the air bubbles out. Now make sure you're using, or you're in good lighting when you do this also, so that you can see, to be sure that you have all of the bubbles out. All right. And it looks as if we do. So now what you'll need to do is, you're going to need to cover it, because you don't want anything disturbing the resin. You don't want anything flying in on top of it. You don't want the dust. You don't want any flies. You don't want any gnats. You don't want anything to disturb it. Okay, we're all done. So now we're going to cover it, and we're going to come back in at about 12 hours and take a look at the finished product. Okay guys, as you can tell, it's another day, and we have waited patiently and anxiously to show you the big reveal. So we've let the coaster dry for 12 hours plus. Now let me show you what it looks like. And here we have the long-awaited Ohio State coaster. Do you see that gloss? Do you see how shiny it is? This is what resin will do for all of your items. And then the back, but we're going to do something to the back right now. So just remember to comment down below if you really like the coaster, and just let me know in a comment that what you'll do if you decide to make this project. Let me know what it is that you might decide to make, what type of coaster you might decide. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the box below. And also, for all of the items that we did use for the project today, I will leave a list at the bottom with where you can purchase them from. All right, so let's do something to the bottom of this to protect the surface. Normally I would use a cork, but I don't have any cork on hand. But I do have these felt pads that you get from the Dollar Tree, and they're just felt pads. So what I'll do is I'll flip the coaster over, and I'll peel it off. It's a peel and stick. And you can use whatever you want. You can use felt, you can use cork. You know, you can use a sheet of felt and cut it into the shape of a circle. You can also, if you don't want a magnet, or excuse me, if you don't want a coaster, you can make a magnet for your refrigerator. You can buy sheets of magnets. All right, I think I'll put 4 on the bottom here. All right, so we've got the front. Okay, again, you've got the front, and then you've got the back with the felt pads on it to protect your table surface. And just want you to see with the pads on it how it will sit up from the table versus the cork. It's going to sit flat to the table. But look how beautiful. I mean, the possibilities are, guys, now remember, the possibilities are endless as to the types of coasters that you can make. Especially with Father's Day coming up, I can see someone purchasing or actually making a coaster for that man in their life. If he's a sports fanatic, I can see maybe his sports team made. If he's into motorcycles, I could see you making a Harley Davidson coaster for him. Even with graduation time coming up, I can see you making perhaps a Ohio State coaster for that graduate or that student that's going off to college in the fall. Simply, what I would suggest is, if you are interested in doing something of that sort, just go to Google. That's where I get all my images from. Google is your friend. Type in whatever it is that you're looking for. If you're looking for colleges, type in perhaps Ohio State logo or Ohio State images. Once you see the image that you like, download it, save it to a file, print it off to your favorite printer. Remember to get a 4x4 print. That way you can size it to the size that you're needing. If you're doing round, then you can buy the round cutter from Michael's and cut it to the size that you need. Or if you're going to do the squares, then the 4x4 is the perfect size for you. Also, they make great thank you gifts. If you're getting married and you want to give thank you gifts to all of your guests, I could easily see a picture of the happy couple on it and give that as a gift. And also possibly save the dates. If you're getting married and you're wanting something unique to do for save the dates, they make great save the date gifts. All right, guys, enough of my talking. Just remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you will be notified each and every time that I do upload a new video. And as always, thanks for watching. Until we meet again, see you the next time. Have a great day, and remember to keep on living your best life. Take care.
I'm living my best life.